Hey, class, I got on a bit early just to make sure that everyone knows that y'all have a quiz. So, the quiz starts at 4, so in like 2 or 3 minutes. I don't care if you stay on Zoom while you take the quiz or if you get off Zoom and take the quiz and come back. I really don't care. Does anyone have any questions right now?
What's the quiz over?
Everything we've covered so far, / Heraclitus and Parmenides. If you've been listening and done the reading, it will be easy. Yeah? Any other questions? Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna hang out. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna hang out. I might go like heat up my coffee. But your quiz will begin in like 1 or 2 minutes. Okay. Y'all don't have any questions? Okay,
No.
good luck. Good luck. I'll be here. I'll be here. I'll be here. Okay. I'm probably going to turn off my video though. So good luck on the quiz.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, it won't take long, but you have 15 minutes to do it.
Thanks.
I got a question. Are you going to offer any tutoring for this? Or do you know if they do tutoring for philosophy?
I don't know, but I know this, that I'm willing to meet with you. But hey, is that Michael talking?
Yeah.
Let's hold up for the moment and why don't you ask that question after the quiz, okay? Y'all, if you're just now joining, it's time to access the quiz. Okay?
Hey, okay, I have a question. So we just had a fire drill and I'm outside. I mean, I can try to take it right now, but can we like wait a few minutes, or I can take it or try to take it right now?
Hey, Sarah,
Like it just happened, yeah.
are you on campus?
I'm on campus, yeah. I can try to take it right now. I'm just outside, so I don't know how like well the signal is gonna be.
Yeah, Sarah, go ahead and try. I mean, it's super easy. If there's a problem because of this fire drill, then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, okay?
Yes, sir.
Just try it. Do the best you can.
Yes, sir.
Y'all, your quiz is now live. You have 15 minutes. So go ahead and take your quiz, okay? And I'm going to stop talking. If anyone has any questions, send them to me in the chat, okay? So y'all, if you're just now joining, go ahead and take the quiz on Canvas, okay? It'll be up until 4:15. Hey, y'all, do me a favor. Whenever you're done, just send me a text that says, I mean, a chat message that says that you're done, okay? Awesome. Y'all have 10 more minutes, so there's no rush. You know, if you're done, you can go do something and come back. I don't care. I don't want to rush anyone. So for this first quiz, I'm just going to let the full time expire. So you guys have 10 more minutes to complete the quiz. Okay. Okay, y'all, there's still 5 more minutes. Is there anyone, and I hope that there are, is there anyone who is still taking the quiz? Like, if you're still taking the quiz, wave at me. Okay, I think, is everyone finished? I think everyone's done, right? Okay, I'm gonna wait 2 more minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I think everyone's done, but just to be safe, I'm gonna wait 2 more minutes. And then we'll get started with class in 2 minutes, okay? Okay, y'all, I think I'm gonna go ahead and start the class because I think that everyone's done, okay? Now, y'all, thanks for all your comments in the chat and stuff like that. I'm actually not gonna talk about the quiz right now because there's still some folks who haven't taken it, okay? Let me say a couple of things. I will say one thing. One person asked what the quiz is on. Y'all look with me at the reading schedule. Can you see that? Y'all can see my desktop, right? Can y'all see my desktop? Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So like today, right now we're in the week of 125, right? January 25.
Yes.
Have we gotten to Plato's Euthyphro yet?
No, sir,
No.
we
No,
haven't.
sir.
We haven't. I haven't really said a word about it. So therefore, what was on the quiz? Really just Parmenides and Heraclitus, right? I mean, that's really all we covered. So that's pretty obvious. You know, you really ought to know what was on the quiz. I did say what was on it, but even if you skipped class, like it's pretty clear what's on the quiz. There's this one dude named Copleston that I was going to have you read, but I deleted that. So yeah. Okay. The other thing I want to say about the quiz is that it's worth 18 points, 18 out of 300. That's 6% of your grade. So that quiz that you just took is worth 6% of your grade, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. So I think if this quiz is like every other quiz I've ever given in 12 semesters of teaching at UT Tyler, the majority of y'all made 100, but not everyone did. And there's some of you who probably got them all wrong. There's some of you who probably got one right. It's worth 6% of your total grade. Yeah. Hang in there. Okay. Y'all, I want to begin the class now. We're going to start out with some review from last time. Look with me on the little lecture notebook. This is also uploaded to Canvas. So all of y'all have this. You see right here where it says Wednesday, 127. That's where we're going to start. We're going to start out with some review from last time. But does anyone have any questions or comments at the moment? Does anyone have something that they'd like to say
Are
about
you
the
gonna
class?
give out, are you ever gonna, do you do curves, like grading curves or anything?
No,
That Everybody does that on a test?
Nope. Any other?
I
Thank
actually
you, Michael.
have one from, oh, are you still answering his question or no?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I was going back through the last lecture because I was confused, right? So
Uh-huh.
then I got some other like question. So it's really hard to explain. Okay, so
It's all good.
okay, it says being is not non-being. Okay,
Right.
and then
Which is a
so
double negation.
yes, and you are saying that he is putting negations on the negations of being and not being.
Yeah, and you know
So
why,
isn't
Sarah?
being not a being, so that's a double negation. So would that make it being like change and everything else? Is that making sense in what I'm trying to like get at?
I think so, and I have some good news for you. That's kind of what we're going to start out with.
Okay.
We're doing some review from last time, so you're awesome. I bet that if you just sort of hang with me for a few minutes, I tell you what, Sarah, here's what I want to do.
Okay.
Let me get through Roman numeral 1, and then I want you to ask your question.
Okay.
All right. Awesome. Okay, y'all. So what we're doing is talking about Heraclitus and Parmenides, these two pre-Socratic philosophers. Who can remind me what Heraclitus says?
Everything is in flux.
Yes, all is flux. And what's the other sort of maxim that Heraclitus has?
You can't step in the same river twice.
That's exactly right. And we talked a lot about that. We talked a lot about that over the last 2 lectures. Parmenides comes along and does he say something similar to what Heraclitus says or something crazy different?
Something crazy different.
It is crazy different, isn't it?
Yes.
Who can tell me what Parmenides says?
All is being.
All is being, exactly. And when you ask Parmenides, okay, dude, what do you mean by being? Here's the crazy thing. He doesn't tell us what being is. He only tells us what being
Is not.
is not. Boom. He says being is not what?
Change.
Being is not change. What else? Being is not
Isn't it something with like spatial?
spatial
Something?
extension.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I had a ruler in my office, but I'm a priest and a philosopher. I don't really need a ruler except to make cheesy illustrations in class. Imagine that this is a ruler. Here's 1 inch, here's 2 inch. It's spatially extended, right? It's extended in space. Good. Being is not change. Or you could put it even stronger. Being has fucking nothing to do with change. Nothing. Parmenides says whack a non-being. Don't even think about non-being, right?
Being is perfect is something
It-
else it says.
Okay, are you getting that? Who is that? Who said
It's
that?
me. I'm sorry. I don't.
No problem. Just
I
tell me
didn't
the
know-
name.
I didn't realize that it had that thing on. My hair is a mess.
Oh, hey,
Sorry. Look,
hi.
the Christmas tree is more pretty than that.
awesome. Okay. Yeah. So is that Rachel? Is that your name?
Yes.
All right.
Sorry, Faye's my middle name.
Good. So did you just said being is perfect, right? Is that
Yes,
right?
It says being is perfect.
You're getting that from the essay, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Fair enough. He does. I haven't gone into that yet just because I think it's a little bit confusing for now, but he does say that. But if you ask Parmenides, what do you mean by being? The crazy thing is that he never defines it, right? So if you were
No,
to
we
walk
don't
up,
know the word.
if you were to walk up to Aristotle and be like, what do you mean by man? Aristotle's going to give you a definition. He's going to say, here's what I mean by man, rational animal. Okay. But if you walk up to Parmenides and you're like, what do you mean by being? He cannot give you a definition. He never says what it is. He only says what
It's not.
it's not.
So in a man, he could say it doesn't have 4 wooden legs when describing what a man
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the way
yeah,
he
yeah.
he would-
Yeah. If
what is
Aristotle were
and it's
smoking
not something
pot,
that you sit on and watch TV.
that's right, Rachel. But check this out. Aristotle would be stupid if he did that. If he said, I'm not going to tell you what a man is, I'm only going to tell you what it's not, he'd be kind of stupid. You know why? Because it is possible to say what a man is. You know why Parmenides never says what being is? It's impossible. This is the crazy philosophical epiphany that I'm trying to get y'all to have. He never says what being is. He only says what it isn't. And what isn't it? It's not change. It's not multiplicity or diversity. It's not spatial extension, and it's not composite, namely parts and wholes like my watch, right? It's none of those things. It's not this, it's not that. Now, are you with me so far?
Yes.
Any questions? Sarah, how you doing?
Good.
Awesome.
I
Now,
got a quick question.
go ahead.
Is he talking only about material things, or can he be referencing anything at all?
For now, we're going to assume that he's talking about material things.
Okay.
And in fact, we're going to assume that he's talking about the world or the cosmos, which for now, that's a good question. We're just talking about material things, physical things, things that human beings can see, taste, touch, smell, or hear. Okay?
Cool.
Because we got to start out slow. Okay?
Sure.
So we're just going to assume he's talking about physical stuff. All right? Now, look with me at Roman numeral 1a. Who can explain to me, or try to explain to me, why Parmenides says whack a non-being? Why does he do that?
He believes that if we try and look at what doesn't exist versus like what does exist, we're just going to put ourselves in corners and confuse ourselves.
That's right. If we think about non-being or talk about it, we're going to be confused. Why?
Non-being relates to change.
There's a deeper reason. It's because non-being is not real. Right? How do we know that Parmenides thinks non-being is not real? How do we know Parmenides thinks that non-being is not real? Here's how. I mean, first off, he says it. He just says it in the article. But also, what did I just highlight?
All is being.
All is being. Remember, Heraclitus says all is flux. There were other pre-Socratic philosophers like this dude named Thales who said all is water. That's kind of crazy, but he did say it. So Thales says all is water. Heraclitus says all is flux. Parmenides says all is being. Why can you not talk about non-being? Because it doesn't exist. All is being. All right? That's why he says whack a non-being. All right? Now, here's where it gets a little more difficult. Who can read letter B for me?
Every negation or Parmenides is really double negation.
Good. And that should say 4. That's a typo. It should say every
Right.
negation for Parmenides is really a double negation. All right. Now, Who can explain that to me?
It's kind of like saying if I'm not male, I'm really saying I am male.
Absolutely. That's key to understanding this. But why? Yeah, that's right. So that's right. Look with me at C. This is because finite being. What is finite being? Finite being is anything that's material, anything that is spatially extended, anything that has parts or wholes, anything that has diversity. Do my glasses admit of diversity? Yes or no?
Yeah,
Yes.
Why? Why do you say that?
because it has holes.
parts.
That's right. There's parts. See, Parmenides says, therefore, it's non-being. See, Parmenides says this: open your eyes and look around. Everything you see is non-being. Why? Because it's changing. Because it has parts and wholes. Because it's spatially extended. That's what I'm calling finite being or nature. Look with me at C. Finite being is already negated. Why is it negated? Because it's finite. Y'all, what does finite mean?
Limited.
Limited. Can you see how this pencil is limited? Is this pencil infinite?
No.
No. Therefore, it's what?
Finite.
Limited. Yeah, that's right. It's limited, aka finite. And see, all reality is like that. It's already limited. It's already negated. Look with me at the last sentence of B. It already admits of non-being. So when Parmenides comes along and says being is not, look with me at A through D here. Remember, these are all the things that being is not. But each one of those is really saying being is not finite. That is to say, being is not negated. Those are all double negatives.
So he might not necessarily disagree with Heraclitus whenever Heraclitus says like everything is changing.
Well, now why do you say that, Nick?
You talked earlier about how he doesn't consider any of this to be really being because it's constantly changing. So
Yeah, that's Heraclitus.
I thought you were talking about Parmenides whenever you
Well,
said,
no, that you're really onto something. Don't forget that Parmenides also has to say, and he does say, that everything that I think I see right now, the cup, your picture on my computer, my keyboard, it's all an illusion. Right?
yeah. So essentially he doesn't believe any of it really exists because it changes.
That's right. And so Parmenides and Heraclitus would agree on a lot of stuff. They would both say the cup is not real. Right, Nick?
Yeah.
Now they would give radically different accounts for why that is the case. Radically different accounts for why the cup is not real. Who can tell me why Heraclitus would say that the cup is not real?
Isn't it because it's always changing, so we're not really seeing it for like what it is?
That's exactly right, Sierra. It has no stable identity. Is the cup going to be around in 1,000 years? No. It's like one of those sandcastles in the time lapse. It looks real, but it's changing. You can't step in the same river twice. Right. That is why Heraclitus would say that the cup is not real. But why would Heraclitus say that the cup is not real? I mean, Parmenides. Why would Parmenides say that the cup is not real?
Because it's
Change was an illusion.
Adam, can you go?
yeah, because it's limited. I mean, like one of the negations, there's multiple cups, so it's non-being, like a non-being.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's funky, y'all.
You know, like it's funny to think what was the intention of Parmenides, because it's like he's not really saying anything. Like that's kind of how I see it. He's saying things are being and well, okay, but he's not really saying anything. Like I feel like he might be very like dedicated to think, but like it's not like he's contributing something new to the word. So I don't understand. Well,
Yeah, Sergio, good stuff. I mean, I think you're onto something there, and I appreciate that. I really do. But I think that when we get to Aristotle, you'll see how he is contributing something.
okay,
Okay.
yeah.
So we're gonna keep going now. Okay. Unless does anyone have anything else that they want to say? Any questions? Any comments?
So
Okay,
is
so-
something,
Go ahead.
sorry, is it safe to say that he also believes that we're living in a constant state of dreaming?
Dreaming?
Would that be, yes, if he believes that everything around us isn't real, would that be associated with dreams and illusions? So would that, like, go like to the Matrix,
Yeah.
bringing it into something that's a more common reality in Matrix, and like everybody says, it tastes like chicken because we tell you it tastes like chicken.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's right. I mean, he doesn't say in his text that we're dreaming. He never says that. But here's what I think is interesting, Rachel, and here's what I want you to think about. You got to remember that Heraclitus and Parmenides are like early philosophers. They're so far back in history. They're almost the first people to wake up and start talking about these things. They're very
Right.
primitive. Here's what's interesting. When you read subsequent thinkers like the Matrix, right? Like the Wachowski brothers who created the Matrix, but also people like Descartes. Later on, we're going to see that Descartes does talk about, hey, maybe we're being deceived by God. That's kind of like the Matrix, right? When you read those later thinkers in light of Parmenides, you're like, wow, they're kind of saying the same thing. So I think the answer to your question is yes. I mean, he doesn't talk about dreaming in the text, but it's as if it's almost the same thing. It's as if what he's saying is tantamount to what would be the case if we were dreaming.
Would that also extend in any way into parallel universes and multiple things happening at once, saying, okay, in this area, you see this cup as a paper cup. However, the same exact time frame in another dimension, you see it as some metal thing with robotic legs that lights up.
Yeah.
And keeps your coffee warm all day long.
I mean, I like where your head is. But let's slow down. Let's not worry about parallel universes yet. I mean, because we have to crawl before we walk. And so I'm just going to say, yeah, it's kind of sort of something like that. Okay.
Okay.
But the dreaming thing,
cool.
I think, is much more clearly, the dreaming thing is
Right,
less
yeah.
problematic.
I was just like, that's me thinking on my, like, what if this and this and this and this and
Yeah.
all my predestination scenarios and stuff, like all the possible scenarios. So
Yeah,
that's just
good.
thinking really far out there.
Good. Anything else? Any other questions, comments before we move on?
So what I was saying earlier,
Is
like-
this is this Sarah?
yes,
Okay, yeah.
I'm listening to you, but it's just really hard to grasp, like, because you're saying like there's all these negations, but there's not all these negations, so it's not really double negative, but at the same time it is a double negative. So
No, it
I don't
is a
know.
double negative.
huh?
It is a double negative, and as someone said earlier, all double negatives are what? Positive.
Yeah.
So in that sense,
Right.
it's not a negative,
Mhm.
but it is a double negative.
Okay.
Sarah, you get that, right? Someone said it earlier. I don't remember who it was. I
Yes,
think
if
it was Daniel.
yes, like I for the not Matt or whatever, like that's two negatives make a positive, so that means that your name is Matt. I know that, but like I don't know. I'm just thinking of
Here's
it
what I
like
think makes here's what I think makes it a little complicated. What
Mhm.
he's saying is that the thing that's being negated, and what is that thing? It's the world around us that's changing,
Mhm.
and that has parts and wholes, and that has spatial extension, and that is composed of parts and wholes and diversity. Like, y'all look around. That's everything. That's everything. Can someone point to something that's not changing, is not spatially extended, is not composed of parts and wholes? No, you can't. Everything is. And Sarah, here's what I think is kind of funky. What he's saying is that all of that is already finite. And
Okay.
finite is a form of being negated.
Right.
So he's just saying no to all of that. He's saying that can't be what being is. Being can't be not being. It can't be finite. And so back to something Rachel said. Yes, he does say in the article, Peter Adamson, he does say that being is perfect. Why is that? It's because it's not finite. In other words, he's saying being is infinite in a way. Sarah, do you see how the cup is finite?
Yes.
Do you see how that means that it's already negated?
Yes.
Do you see how if he says the cup, that can't be being, he's looking at the cup going, no. Do you
Right.
see how that's a double negation?
Yes.
Now, can you now see how that is a positive statement?
Yes, I can.
You know what we call a positive statement? An affirmation.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that now. I was just like, I don't know. I was thinking about it last night and it just
This is
I
why
watched like the whole lecture again. I was like, why am
Aw.
I doing this? But
yeah. Listen, you're free to drop the class.
No, I
but-
don't, that's not
but-
what I want to do.
You will almost certainly not make a bad grade, especially if like you talk some and I know who you are.
Mhm.
So don't worry about that. And it is hard and it is funky and it is weird, but it
Yeah,
is so
no.
worth it. I mean,
I've been enjoying the class because it's interesting and like I was going to take ethics before this, but it didn't look interesting, so I took this instead.
this is prior to ethics. You will understand ethics better because of this class. But
Okay.
listen, some practical advice is just, it's great that you rewatch the video. That's awesome. Keep doing stuff like that. Now, I know that we're all busy. We don't have time. You guys probably work, blah, blah, blah. But keep coming back. Chew on the material. Think about it. Talk it over with your friend or your boyfriend or someone else in the class and keep coming back and it will begin to make sense. Okay. And I think that's already happening. All right. Good job. I'm going to keep going. Because y'all, we've talked about these two thinkers, right? Heraclitus and Parmenides. And we've seen how they're sort of opposites, right? They say opposite things. Heraclitus says that everything is flux. And let me just say something about that. It's almost as if Heraclitus is embracing non-being. It's almost as if Heraclitus is embracing finitude or unintelligibility or chaos. Yeah, let me say that. And remember, Genesis 1:2, the earth was formless and void. What is that saying? It's saying that the world was chaotic. Before the days of creation, before God comes in and creates light, can you see how light makes things orderly? You can see things because there's light. You can determine structures and shapes. But before God comes in and brings order to chaos, light, God brings order to chaos. He distinguishes things, land from sea. He creates divisions and distinctions. All of that is bringing order into the world. Before that, in Genesis 1:2, what was there?
Just chaos.
Chaos.
Void.
That's all there was. And it's as if Heraclitus is embracing that. It's as if Heraclitus is saying, that's the true nature of reality. We should just admit it. Are you with me? By the way, that's what Nietzsche does. By the way, Christianity gives that a high five. Now, does Christianity say that that has the last word? No. But Christianity looks at the chaos and says, yeah, that's real. Okay. So, but that's Heraclitus. It's as if Heraclitus is embracing the chaos. And y'all, can you see how chaos is kind of like non-being? Why is it non-being? It's non-being because it's not anything. It's not beauty. It's not form. It's not design. It's not structure. It's not triangles or human bodies. It's just chaos. It's non-being. And it's as if Heraclitus embraces the chaos. Now, Parmenides comes along and he's the very opposite. He says, I know that it looks like the world is chaotic. None of that's real. That has to be an illusion. Why? I'll tell you why. It's because all is being. Now, all I want you to realize right now is that they're opposites. Look with me at Roman numeral 2, because what I want to do next is to show you that Aristotle takes both of these thinkers, Heraclitus and Parmenides, he gives them both high fives and he puts them together in dialectic, okay? Guess what? Plato does the same thing. Plato does the same thing. They both do it. Now, look with me at Roman numeral 1, because y'all, what we're going to do today, and I have about 15 or 20 minutes left. I'm just going to go through this stuff at a very basic level. We're taking a first pass at Plato and Aristotle. I just want to read Roman numeral 2, and then I'm going to introduce Plato. Because if you look at the reading schedule, we're supposed to be doing the Euthyphro this week, right? So I want to start Plato today. I'm just going to introduce Plato, say a few words of introduction about Plato. Then next, on Monday, we're going to talk about the Euthyphro, okay? So we're a little bit behind, but look with me at the screen. By the time we get through next week, we'll be caught up. I think we'll be caught up, all right? Or almost caught up. Then the week after that, we have this writing workshop and catch-up week. So we're good. But what I want to say to you is, we're transitioning now away from Heraclitus and Parmenides toward Plato and Aristotle. They're very similar. And I'm going to introduce Plato and Aristotle real quickly. And then we're going to go deeper into Plato. Okay? So look with me at Roman numeral 2a. This is Plato. Plato calls Heraclitus's realm of flux becoming. Now, does that now, okay. What do we mean by becoming? What does Plato mean by becoming? Hold that thought. Do y'all remember who can tell me the title of a book that Aristotle wrote?
I'm very sure. Oh, no, that's not.
Who can tell me the title of a book that Aristotle wrote?
Was it Physics and Metaphysics?
Yep, that's right. That's right, Nick. And I want to talk about this book, The Physics. Do you remember what Aristotle says physics is, or the Greek word, which I'll put in the chat again? The Greek word is physios. What is physios for Aristotle?
Nature?
It's nature. And what does he mean by nature?
The study
I
of
mean, things that are
things that
physical
move
or have matter.
Things that move.
It's not things that are physical or have matter. I mean, that's not what he means. What he means is stuff that moves. Physios. That's the Greek word, physios. Physios, or nature, is the realm of things that move. Give me some examples of things that move.
You.
Keep going.
My last
Animals.
year.
Animals, good. More, keep
Air.
going. Air?
Plants.
Yeah, I like air because
Glaciers.
good. One of the reason I like air is because it's one of the four elements: earth, wind, fire, and water.
Well, Earth moves
Aristotle,
too with the Titanic, with the Earth plates, the Titanic plates.
that's right, Michael. Now, titanic plates, that's earth, right? So boom, that counts. It's one of the four elements. The four elements move. Living things move. Plants, animals. How does a plant move?
it grows up.
It grows up, and then what?
Becomes a tree.
And then what?
Oh, it dies.
It dies. What does it do before it dies? Doesn't it begin to decay?
Oh yeah,
Like-
you're correct.
Like we had an ice storm recently, or a snow, and like a bunch of the branches of my trees in my yard, what did they do? They fell. That's decay. Those branches are dying, right? That's the realm of nature, or physios. It's the realm of change, and that includes growth and decay. Y'all, that's what Aristotle means by physios, or physics, but Plato calls it something else. He calls it the realm of becoming. Now, I hope that makes a little bit of sense. He means stuff. Can you see how becoming is kind of like change?
Is he trying to say like something grows up to become something else?
Yes, that's exactly right. And he also means stuff that dies. He's talking about the realm of change. Things come and go, like the sandcastles on the beach. They come and then they go.
Like the tadpole?
Right. Sorry?
Like the tadpole? How it changes?
Like a tadpole, that's exactly right. That is what Plato means by the realm of becoming. Now, y'all, does Parmenides like that, like the realm of becoming? Yes or no?
No.
No,
No. Why?
because he
Because
doesn't
he
believe in
changes.
change.
Non-being.
It involves non-being. Whack a non-being. Plato says, okay, Parmenides has a really great point, but you know what? It's fucked up a little bit. Like, Parmenides is brilliant, but dude, come on. Like, I'm not going to say that everything I see is an illusion. So what Plato wants to do, and Aristotle, they want to come up with a way to have them both. Look with me at A2. Plato calls Parmenides' realm of being what?
Just being.
Being. He keeps the same word. And what does Plato mean by being? Well, he means stuff that doesn't change, things that are stable. And a good example of this would be triangles. We can look up the definition of a triangle in the dictionary, and it's not going to change. All triangles are polygons with 3 angles and 180 degrees. That doesn't change. It's not like there's a triangle that's, at 450, it has 180 degree angles, but then at 550, it has 179 angles. No, triangles don't change. This is a very big deal for Plato. He thinks that there's something that's real that doesn't change. And he calls that being, and he also calls that the forms. The forms. All right. We'll come back to that later. But what I want to say is that, can you see how Plato takes Heraclitus and Parmenides and puts them together? He says that they're both right, or put it another way, they're both half right. Does everyone see that? Okay, now let's move to Aristotle because it becomes even more clear with Aristotle. Okay? Aristotle does the same thing. He looks at Heraclitus and gives him a high five, or it's actually not a high five, it's kind of like a medium five. He doesn't throw him under the bus, but he says, you're half right. I'm going to give you a medium five, okay? Aristotle does that to Heraclitus, and he does it to Parmenides, just like Plato does, okay? So look with me at B1. You know what Aristotle calls Heraclitan flux? Remember some of the ways we talked about Heraclitus flux? It's not on this. We talked about the blooming, buzzing confusion, right? We talked about the static on the TV screen. We talked about Genesis 1:2, formlessness and void. Today we use the word chaos. Aristotle has a name for that. You know what the name is? Prime matter. Prime matter. Now, we're going to come back to this big time when we get to Aristotle in a couple of weeks. But let me put it to you like this. Aristotle thinks that everything in the world, this cup, Daniel's head, this pen, Donald Trump, the White House, quasars, everything in the universe that you can see, Aristotle says it's two things. It's matter and form. Matter and form. And he says everything in the world that you can see is a composite. We've seen that word composite. Everything that you can see, take an oak tree or a frog, everything that you can see in the world is a composite unity. You need to write this down. A composite unity of form and matter. Form and matter.
Who says that?
Sorry?
Who says that?
Aristotle. He says that everything in the world is a composite unity. You need to write this down. A composite unity of form and matter. I would write that down, but I can't, because this is a PDF. Two things, form and matter. Well, what is matter? It's like Heraclitan chaos. You know why? Because it's utterly devoid of form. Let me repeat that. Matter, pure matter, he calls it prime matter, is utterly devoid of form. Did you hear that? What does that mean? What does it mean to say that matter is utterly devoid of form?
Is it formless?
It's formless. 75% formless, Daniel?
I'm guessing completely formless.
Completely formless. It's utterly devoid of form. It's like the static TV screen. Does the static TV screen have any form?
No.
No, it's just chaos.
It's constantly changing.
Constantly changing. There's no shapes. If you're looking at that static TV screen, the flickers everywhere, can you go like, oh, there's a triangle? Can you do that?
No.
No. Can you say, oh, there's a beautiful woman? Can you do that?
No.
No, it's utterly devoid of form. That's chaos. That's the blooming, buzzing confusion. Aristotle's name for that is prime matter. And everything that you can see in the world consists of that. But that's only half of the picture, because what else does it consist of? Form. Form. Did someone say being?
Yeah, that was me.
Michael, you're right. It turns out that Aristotle does think that form is being, but you sort of jumped the gun right then. But you're right. Aristotle says that everything in the world that you can see, puppy dogs, magnolia trees, everything is a composite unity of matter that's utterly chaotic, no form, and form. Form is the very opposite of matter. It's the very opposite of chaos. It's only structure. Like, think about mathematical geometric shapes like a triangle, or think about a line. Do you guys realize that if you look up line in a philosophically airtight dictionary, it's not going to talk about wood. It's not going to talk about graphite. It's not going to talk about gold. It's not going to talk about plastic. You know what it's going to talk about? Points, right? It's going to talk about lines. What's a line? It's a point. It's points, right? Are points made out of plastic? Yes or no? No. Are they made out of wood? No. They're pure form. A line is pure form. A circle or a triangle is pure form. It's utterly devoid of matter. Now, we'll come back to this later, this whole notion of shapes and geometric shapes. But for now, keep that in mind, because that's a good example of what Aristotle means by pure form. And it's a good example of what Plato means by being or the forms, okay? Notice I've talked about Plato's forms, and then I talked about Aristotle. He also uses this word form, right? That's not a coincidence. Again, Aristotle thinks that everything in the world is a composite unity of matter and form. If there's no form, it's just a blob. It's like chaos, right? But if there's no matter, you can't see it. You can't smell it. You can't hear it. You can't touch it. So everything in the world is a composite unity of form and matter. And y'all, that's both Heraclitus and Parmenides. Look with me at B, number 1. Aristotle calls Heraclitus's flux prime matter, and he calls Parmenides being pure form. Pure form. All right? He also uses some other words, Aristotle does. He calls it full actuality. We'll come back to that. Full actuality. He also calls it God. God. What's the Greek word for God?
Theos.
Yep, Theos, theos. That's exactly right. Look with me at Roman numeral 2. As we will see, Aristotle has several names for God: the unmoved mover, the prime mover, and thought thinking itself. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Yeah. Y'all, I think I'm going to call it quits. We will hold off on Plato till Monday, but I want you to read the Euthyphro. But I also want you to read, hang on. I also want you to read the introduction. Did Plato write the introduction? No, he did not. Probably this guy Grube wrote the introduction, but I still want you to read it. On page 9, I want you to read that, okay? So read that and read the Euthyphro. And we will begin to talk about Plato on Monday. All right.
Which book were you holding? The introduction to which book?
This is one of you. Is that you, Daniel?
Yes, sir.
This book
Okay.
right here, Plato's 5 Dialogues, is one of the assigned readings on the syllabus.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Y'all, any questions, comments, jokes?
I have one question. So Parmenides, I mean, Plato simply agrees on everything with Parmenides.
No, because Plato admits that there's this thing called becoming.
Right.
Parmenides would not say that.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. No. Oh. Okay. Yeah. But he calls Parmenides being.
He does.
Yeah.
And he
so-
calls Heracliton flux becoming.
Right. Yeah.
So
Okay.
look, Sergio, you are onto something. Plato loves Parmenides, so does Aristotle, but they can't give him a complete high five.
Yeah. Of course.
They have to look at Parmenides and say, you're forgetting about something. It's this thing called non-being, that thing that Parmenides hates. And Plato and Aristotle say, Parmenides, you're amazing, but you're also kind of full of bullshit. You have to admit that there's this thing called non-being, and we're going to show you how we can talk about it and weave it together with being.
And so did Socrates have the same beliefs since he was Plato's teacher?
Good question. We don't know. All we know about Socrates is what Plato wrote about him.
All right.
And there's a couple of other people who wrote about Plato, including Aristophanes and one other dude whose name I can't remember right now.
Already, I was just curious.
Yeah, it's a great question. Y'all, thank you. Anything else? Going once, going twice? May the force be with you.
And also with you.
And also with you.
Okay, have a good weekend. Peace.